değerli sektör paydaşlarımız, değerli misafirlerimiz, sevgili öğrenciler, hoş geldiniz. Bu yıl Özyeğin Üniversitesi'nin 10. kuruluş yıl dönümünü kutlamaktayız. Sayın Rektörümüz Profesör Doktor Esra Gençtürk'ün destekleriyle Otel Yöneticiliği bölümümüzün Türkiye'de Otelcinin Önderleri 2. Bienali 2019 Mehmet Kemal Dedeman ve Dedeman Hotels and Resorts International etkinliğimizi 12 Şubat 2019 tarihinde başarıyla kutlamamızı takiben bugün de Gastronomi ve Mutfak Sanatları Bölümümüzün girişimi olarak Moleküler Gastronominin babası kabul edilen ve Paris Ulusal Tarım Bilimi Araştırma Enstitüsü (INRA) üyesi, Fransız Bilim Akademisi Yemek Bilimi ve Kültürü Bölümü Akademik Direktörü, Collège de France'da Moleküler Gastronomi alanında dersler veren Profesör Hervé This'i Nota Nota Pişirmek, Not by Not Cooking konulu yeni nesil moleküler gastronomi felsefesini bizlere anlatacağı konferansta bu deneysel sunumunda aramızda görmekten ziyadesiyle mutlu olduğumuzu belirtmek istiyorum. Bu etkinliğimizin Özyeğin Üniversitesi Uygulamalı Bilimler Yüksekokulu Gastronomi ve Mutfak Sanatları Bölümü öğrencilerimizin bilgi, görgü ve kazanımlar açısından ciddi bir anlam ifade etmesinden dolayı da ayrıca mutluyuz. Profesör Hervé This Özyeğin Üniversitesi'ne hoş geldiniz. Dünyamızda kontrol dışı artan nüfusumuza paralel, tarım alanlarının çoraklaştığı, gelir dengesizliğinin arttığı ve kişi başına düşen gıda atık miktarının sürekli yükseldiği bir ortamda acaba farklı beslenme yöntemleri insanlığın bu temel ihtiyacına bir çözüm önerebilecek mi diye düşünmekten kendimizi alamıyoruz. Bugün Profesör Hervé This bizlere Geoffroy, Gibbs, Chirac, Debye ve Würz, eğer telaffuz edebildimse doğru bir şekilde, adlı gıda ürünlerini hazırlayarak dikkatlerimize sunacak. Profesör Hervé This bu ürünlerin tariflerini, reçetelerini bizlerle paylaşmış olmasına rağmen ben burada sizlere içeriklerini bile paylaşma cesaretine göstermede kendimi yetkin göremiyorum. Konuyu işin ehline bırakmakta yarar var. Nota Nota Pişirmek etkinliğimizin gerçekleşmesinde desteklerinden dolayı Profesör Doktor Esra Gençtürk'e, emeklerinden dolayı Gastronomi ve Mutfak Sanatları Bölüm Başkanımız Doçent Doktor Özge Samancı'ya, Le Cordon Bleu Direktörümüz Defne Ertan Tüysüzoğlu'na, yoğun çalışmalarından dolayı tüm şeflerimize, UBİO Sekreterimiz Necla Erinç Hanımefendi'ye ve özverili çalışmalarından dolayı Gastronomi ve Mutfak Sanatları Bölümümüzde bu çalışmalarda gönüllü olan öğrencilerimize teşekkürlerimi sunuyorum. Bu vesileyle sizlere güzel bir haberi de paylaşmak istedim. Özyeğin Üniversitesi Sosyal Bilimler Enstitüsü çatısı altında Tasarım, Teknoloji ve Toplum Yüksek Lisans Programı ile bütünleşik Gastronomi ve Tasarım Yüksek Lisans eğitimine 2019 güz dönemi itibariyle başlayacağımızı ve 1 Mayıs 20 Haziran 2019 tarihleri arasında da başvuruları almaya başlayacağımızı müjdelemek isterim. Alanında bir ilk olacak Gastronomi ve Tasarım Tezli Yüksek Lisans Programı, toplumsal bağlamda tasarım, yemek kültürü ve tarihi, duyusal analiz ve yeni ürün geliştirme, gıda tüketim davranışları, gıda politikaları gibi derslerden oluşan interdisipliner, bilimsel ve akademik boyutlar yaklaşımlarıyla eğitim dili İngilizce olan uluslararası düzeyde holistik bir eğitim sunacaktır. Değerli misafirlerimiz, şimdi izninizle not by not cooking konusunda sunumu yapmak ve bizlere bilimsel açıdan ışık tutması için Profesör Hervé This'i sahneye davet ediyorum. Profesör Hervé This'e bu sunumunda Gastronomi ve Mutfak Sanatları Bölümü öğrencilerimizden Ecem Karakuş ve Yiğit Ege Apak yardımcı olacaklardır. Teşekkürler.
Okay. I'm sorry, I cannot speak any Turkish word, so I speak English. By the way, I need my PowerPoint. The presentation will be in two ways. I have many pictures to show, but at the same time, I want to demonstrate that it is easy technically. So we are going to make not recipes, but experiments. Of course, these experiments are edible. So now, let's begin with this. And so this is more or less the content of molecular gastronomy. There is a question of science. When I say science, it means chemistry, biology, physics. It does not mean history or geography. It is sciences of nature. Okay. And now there is a question behind. Okay. So this is the main idea. There will be 4 parts. I hope that will not be too long, but if I'm too long, you leave the room and I will stop. So the first thing is very important is this one. You know, in this world, people confuse many things because there are gastronomy, technique, technology, engineering, cooking, culinary arts, what else? Molecular cooking, molecular cuisine. So what does it mean? So, you know, I'm teaching to my students and to myself, when I want to understand something clearly, I need to know the goal. Okay. So let's look at goals. In life, when you have a goal is a destination, okay? If you know the destination, now you can decide for the way reaching for the destination. It is very simple, but this idea is never applied. If I were the president of the university, I would first put the goals and then the ways. But I'm not the president, fortunately for the students. Now, this is very clear. And the words are clear. The words are in the dictionary. They are not mine. So you see, technique, and cooking is a technique because you do something. When you whip an egg, if you have a whisk like this and this, if you do this, this is technique. This is not art. It is not science. It's technique. It is not technology. It's technique. Okay. So now we know what is technique. Technology means that you care about what you do. For example, where is it? Is it, okay, proteins. Okay, we have proteins here. Proteins is a white, I mean, very often it's a white powder. But you know, here is an egg. If I take the egg with a glass like this, for example, and I break the egg here, the egg white is yellow, by the way. So why do we, I don't know in Turkish how you say, but it is clear that it is not white. Okay. I need another bowl. Here it is, thank you. Okay, I will whip the egg white. Okay. Now I see that if I'm whipping the egg white, I say, why do I use this tool? There is no reason, except tradition. Okay. Tradition is perhaps important, I don't know. I have to think about that. But you see, there are bubbles. You see the bubbles? Okay, there you see bubbles. It's very strange. The bubbles are air. Okay. Between you and me, there is plenty of air. Do you see the air? No. So it's indeed, we should not see the bubbles. So why do we see the bubbles? Okay. I don't know, which means that there is a question. Okay, I'm making a foam. A foam means bubbles trapped into water. Now we are doing technology, which was in the middle. Okay, where is water? Do you have water somewhere? Okay. So now an egg white, the egg white, is 30 grams, 3 grams of proteins, and 27 grams of water. Let's have 3 grams of protein, 27 grams of water, and now I'm whipping, and by the way, there is a foam, and it is the same. So, what about eggs? Let's drop eggs. We don't need the eggs. Because, you know, we have a much easier product to use. You don't need a fridge. You don't need energies to keep the eggs in the fridge. It does not break. You can store it for a very long time, and you have the same foam. Okay? Now you are whipping, which is again technique. Okay. You are whipping. After some time, the volume of foam has increased, but there is no further increase. Why? You see, I'm whipping or can you whip the egg? Okay. You know, after some time, there will be no further increase. And we can ask the question why. You know, you remember that in this cut pool, we have proteins, water, and air. Okay. If we had the double quantity of water and proteins, we would have the double quantity of foam. Okay. Which means that air is not missing to make much more foam out of this product. So what are we missing? Are we missing water or proteins? We don't know. So let's make a simple experiment. The most simple experiment is to say, when the foam is made, we add a teeny quantity of water, we whip, it makes a bigger foam, then we add more water, okay? We whip, it makes a bigger foam, and I'm very happy to tell you that the maximum amount of foam that we made was more than 24 liters from one egg white. This is technology. It has nothing to do with technique. It has nothing to do with science. It is in the middle if you show me my PowerPoint. Okay. Now, okay. Oh, thank you very much. So you see, now we understand technology. So now the next question is about science. So technique, this is technique. Very important. We don't care about food ingredients in general, because yesterday evening at the hotel they were lucum, and lucum is pure fat and sugars. We are very happy. So about nutrients, we don't care. So I saw on the menu number of calories, but I know these calories. I know that it is very bad for hair. But indeed, I had the lucum or the baklava or anything. Okay. Now I want you to make the big difference between food and food ingredients. It's not the same. The wild pig is not food. Before it becomes food, you have to take it, to kill it, to cut the meat, to take out the skin, to boil it more than 82.5 Celsius degree, otherwise you have parasites, and to make a good sauce, which means that cooking is not the same as farming. You have the specific transformation. Okay. Natural. No food is natural. According to the dictionary tells you natural is when there is no intervention of the human person. If you cook, you are transforming food ingredients into something artificial, and artificial because of art. And this is very important. So forget about natural food, it's a lie. So next one. In the room of the university, of the Cordon Bleu, there are sugar products, bubbles and fish and something. For a very long time, I was saying, okay, this is not cooking. It's sculpture, it's design, it's what you want, but it's not cooking because you cannot eat. Except that I realized something very important. You know, the technician, they care about caring their guests. Why? And finally, is the proposal. Imagine that you are doing a staircase, okay, and it is a bad staircase. You invite your friends. They go and they break their leg. It means I don't love you. Which means that care means I love you. And if I were the head of this university, I would make a course of love. Not of sex, of love. And the question when you cook is to convey love through your food. So you have to say, I love you through a food product. And this is very difficult. And it is called culinary art because there is a question of love. So now it's clear, I know why cooking is important, why cooking is so important. It is I love you. It is I love you. Okay, now there is a question of art. And the question of art is not to make something beautiful to look at. It has to make something good. And good means beautiful to eat. Like in music. In music, you don't care about the pianist, which is white or green or blue. You care about the beauty of music. In cooking, you care about the beauty in your mouth, which is culinary art. Generally, when I will show you pictures, most of them are by my friend Pierre Gagnère, because he's my friend. And he's a great artist. Now, if I were the boss of this university, I would also introduce social and human sciences, because they are very important. Look, at the end of the Middle Age in Europe, this was a dinner, very funny. The plates are very flat. Okay. If you move to carême, carême in French at the, let's say, 18th or 19th century, you see, there is the beginning of something going up, which is very important. Because if you build something, building means I love you. I built for you. Okay? So now, look in the history. In 1953, you had 3 Michelin stars for this dish. Trout, simple fish, very cheap, stuffed with bananas. You know? Can you imagine teaching trout stuffed with banana today? It's impossible. Three Michelin stars at that time. Okay? So it means something. It means that cooking evolved, and if it evolved, it will evolve. So please, if you are a chef, don't forget that cooking evolved, and it will evolve. Even if you don't like it, it will evolve. So now, 3 Michelin stars in 1965, a piece of salmon with a sauce. Nobody would get 1 star today with that. 76, this is most intelligent. Because in this way, you have the building, and if you put your spoon in the middle, suddenly, whoa, the flavor comes to your nose. And it means there is a surprise. So if I were a cook, I would probably make surprises. Because it's a lazy idea to say, I love you. I'm not good at I love you, so I have to find a technical. Now, just some pictures of the recent dishes with 3 stars. You see, this is 3 stars, or 3 stars, or 3 stars, or 3 stars. Okay. Of course, depending on the countries, you have the different ways of cooking, and it is very important. And finally, this is the main question of today. And I could probably leave now, because the question is in your mind, and it is what I wanted. This is the reason why I accepted your kind invitation, and thank you. I wanted to ask this question. Now you have this question: what will be the next culinary art? It will not be molecular cooking, because it is the past. It will not be fusion cooking, it is the past. It will not be traditional Turkish cooking, because it's the past. And you know, you have the question, and I could leave, but I want to stay, because I want to show you the next. So technology, this is culinary technology. And indeed, this is what I invented in the 90s, in the 80s, sorry. This is my lab at home. When I was a child, I had a lab. And I was cooking at the same time. And suddenly, I realized that all this equipment could be useful for cooking. So let's cook using this product. And this was molecular cooking. It means using new tools. Okay, very simple. And today, most chefs of the world have the thermocirculator to make low temperature cooking. And most chefs have siphons. Where are the siphons? Okay, siphons, because it makes the foam much more faster than whipping. And most chefs have, and so on, and so on, and so on. So we have many, many possibilities, and many others. For example, making an emulsion. Now, today you can buy an ultrasonic probe. You press the button, you get the emulsion in 3 seconds. So why whipping? It's useless. Okay. Now, science. I will be very short on that, because it is not the purpose of the lecture. Science means looking for the mechanism of phenomena. We have to make experiments, which means that we don't lie. It's the truth, you see. When you whip the egg white, we have the foam. It's an experiment. We demonstrate. We are not saying something. It's just a demonstration. So it is very important. But the next step for science, which is important, is calculation. Chefs don't calculate, to my knowledge. They don't make equations. Of course, they calculate the bill. but their goal is not to make equations. Not in my lab, we are doing equations daily, any second. So this makes a big difference between science and cooking. There is no relationship, except if you have a friend and you say, I love you. Now there is a relationship, but it's not an intellectual relationship of this guy doing the equation, of myself doing the cooking. I don't cook myself, or I should not. So here it is. The method of science of nature will be very fast. You have a phenomenon, you measure, you make the equation, you make a theory, and then you try to refute the theory. In science, we don't demonstrate theories. We try to show that the theory is wrong. And this is why we are not paid well, because we spend our time making theories that are wrong, and we kill them. These people are crazy. So let's keep to that. And of course, in my lab, we apply science, which means equations and theory, to cooking. Okay? So I am paid by the French government to make the physics and chemistry of all these things. So I'm very happy, because this Coglop is wonderful. And this is why in 1988 we created, with my old friend Nicolas Curti, Moleküler Gastronomie, which is science. So now it's almost done. My life is there in green. This is a lab, Moleküler Gastronomie, science. But it's true that at the same time I'm inventing many things. I'm sorry about that. I should not. I am paid to make the green by the French government, not the other. So I will skip that very fast. And then I will show you some example of what we are doing at the lab. Only some example. For example, marinade. When you put the meat into a liquid, does it go in? Here is a demonstration that it does not go in entirely. Okay. This is another demonstration. We cooked a piece of meat, a special one, into a liquid with a fluorescent colorant, and we cut it, and you see there is some green color outside in a jellified part, but nothing inside. So now we have a phenomenon that we can investigate. But for marinating, it's a bad idea. Okay. Now another one very interesting. Also, these are measurements that we make. So it takes years. This is one is very interesting. You know, chef says that when you grill meat, some chef says that you should put the salt at the top at the beginning. Some others says that they should put the salt at the end. So what should I do? In this piece of meat, you see some crevices, some slits. It means that the salt was able to draw the water, dissolve, and by capillarity, the salt was gone into the meat. So some meat can trap some odor on color, on taste, and some other meats don't, you see? So the solution was not so simple. Another example of the lab, carrot stock. So we were cooking carrots. We are analyzing with it's an equipment. It's like MRI in the hospital. You see, in the hospital, you have a big machine. You put the body of someone, some individual, and you see through the scan if there is a cancer or something. We apply the same in my lab, but for carrot stock, for example. And this is what we get. This is in time. The time is moving, so 4 hours, 8, 12, and so on. So we cooked carrot stock for 6 months. Okay. And we measured the quantity of glucose. This is not pure glucose, it's glucose into water. Fructose is a white powder. And sucrose is sugar. So you see, glucose is increasing slowly. Fructose is increasing slowly, which means that you have glucose and fructose into the carrot stock. And for sugar, sucrose, there was a big increase. And then there is a decrease. How is it possible that the sugar, when you cook in a pan with water, the sugar will go out of the carrot and then it will disappear? Sugar does not evaporate. And finally, the solution was easy. There were 2 possibilities. The first one is that the sugar would be out and in. Another one, that the sugar would be we say hydrolyzed into glucose and fructose, and it is the right possibility. And this is why the carrot stock, after 2 hours, after 8 hours, does not have the same taste. We had a theory, is that the carrot release the sugar this way. And this theory was, so you see there are the channels that you have in a carrot. Indeed, it's an onion. And so we make experiment, calculation, equations, and so on. It is my big pleasure. And finally, we could demonstrate that this theory was wrong, so we were very happy. Okay. Another example, onions. Onions is exactly the same as carrots. So we did another theory, and we improved and we improved. Coffee and tea is the same. If you make an espresso, you have the particles of coffee in red and water flowing through percolation. So now we are studying, for example, at the lab, the influence of the size of the particles for the composition of the coffee. So this is molecular gastronomy. What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, the last one. What is food? It should have been the first question. Now I see very clearly, when you have a food, you have parts. You see the parts. So there is an organization. Now if you look with a microscope, any part has a microscopic organization. And if you look with a bigger microscope, you see even an organization. These are casein micelles. But if you look with a molecular microscope, you see another. So this experiment is very funny. You take, in food science, it's funny, you take raspberries and you apply some metallic ions, iron, aluminium, copper, and so on. And for tin, the tin metal, it turns blue because of a molecular association. Okay, so I love this experiment, it's a very long time. Now, what has been introduced in some, even in some French culinary school, was a system of equations. It is taught to bakers and pastry chefs for innovation. And I will show you why it is important for innovation. The idea, I will not be able to tell you in 1 hour how to use it. I would need probably 2 or 3 hours, but now. The idea is that for any organization, you can make a formula. Okay, I will not have time to explain the formula, but it's very easy. Now, if you take another organization, you have another formula. For any organization, you can have a formula. Okay. Okay. Any food at any scale could be described with a formula. So it's very interesting. For example, this is an onion. An onion means water trapped into the cells, which is a gel, because a gel means water. I'm happy to tell you, for example, that the director of this place, or you are a gel. I'm a gel as well, okay. Because a gel means a liquid trapped into a solid, okay. You know, we are full of water, probably 75%, and there is no liquid around, which means that this water is trapped, the fat, which is liquid, but also the water, which is liquid as well. So we are gels. But we are not the same kind of gel as this one. There are different gels. And because there are so many gels, so many different. For example, this is an artificial orange, very easy to make. You take orange juice, you put alginate, and we have calcium, and you make like the salmon eggs, you see. And then with these eggs, these artificial eggs, you glue them together, and it's like an orange. And it's a gel, of course. This one was served by Pierre Gagnère some time ago. Meat is a gel, I told you. Chocolate is a gel. Now, gelatin gel is a gel, you see? The white part are the gelatin. For example, can you please come here? So she will be some water, okay? You will be gelatin, like me. Gelatin are protein. No, be there. No. Water, you don't move, okay. We are proteins, okay. When we are heated, we can uncoil. And then when the gel is forming, you see, we are making a soft solid. But the water is trapped in the middle. And this is a gelatin gel. And what we did already here, it was agar. It is the same kind of gel. You see? So these are, and in cooking you have gels and gels and gels. Meat is a gel, plant tissues are gel. Okay. Okay, they are complex gel. Now, you see, we have the same name for different products. So we need different descriptions. Otherwise, we don't. If I say gel, is it this one or this one? You know, the word gel is not enough. And this is why the formulas are important. So this is the last example that I will give you for molecular gastronomy. I made a small program some time ago, and I wanted to produce, theoretically, all gels. So the simple gels are 16, so now you cannot take a patent. It's finished. I invented all gels. So for class 1, they are 16, and for class 2, they are slightly less than 1,400, 500. So they are here, and here, and here, and here. Now, if you want innovation, which is technology, you take any one, this one, for example, and you do it. Easy. And now the cook have many possibilities. Okay, so different gels don't have the same flavor. Sometimes the flavor appears very, very fast. You have it immediately in your mouth. You say, you have it. We call in French we say l'attaque. You know, like in wine. Sometimes in wine, you drink it and wow, immediately, puff, a big flavor. Sometimes it is much later. Is it possible to play with that and to build a gel when they will be, you would put it in your mouth and then you have a flavor. After some time the flavor disappears. Another flavor that disappears. Another flavor that disappears. And the answer is yes, we did it. And here it is. Very simple. So you can control the time experience of your guest. Instead of grilling a steak, which is not bad, of course, we have to begin this way. But after some time, you see the level of possibilities that you can have. It is very simple. This one was done in Denmark. Okay, so now, finish with science, let's move to application. So I told you that molecular cooking is the past. So please, I was being told, I don't remember who said that. I was being told that in Turkey, you are not so at the cutting edge of innovation in terms of technique, okay, in cooking, which means that not all chefs have siphons or thermocirculators. Okay, there is no problem. But by the way, forget about molecular cooking. It is the past. I introduced that in 1980. In 1980, Tiamat Mehmet Alendar was not born. You see? So it is the past. Okay. So forget, don't move toward the young chef. Don't move toward molecular cooking. Forget about molecular cooking. Don't do anything in this direction. Okay? Are you chefs? Okay. Don't do it. Okay. Anyway, I will show you what it is. Okay. So the definition is very clear. It means using new tools. Okay. New means only tools that were not in cooking, but were in culinary labs. Okay. So this is one meal that I can show you. It was in Hong Kong. This was the full dinner. It was a dinner. The guy is a German. He's brilliant. So this was the mummy, the bird nest, the caviar. It's not a caviar. Balancing meat, flour. The pot could be eaten as well. The pond under the sea. I don't remember. This one, it was very funny. It was called I Go Down in My Garden and the Mist Disappears. Alaska meat, I don't remember the title, coconut, bread and butter, the apple, makeup before dessert, but you could eat everything, even the box. And finally, candy garden. This is the past. Forget about that. It is the past. By the way, it is so easy. Every month, almost every month, I'm giving to Pierre Gagnère a new invention, and he's putting that on the internet site. So you can go at the internet, look at Pierre Gagnère, you will see Pierre and Hervé, and every month there is a new idea. Okay. So I will show you some pictures, Liebig, Priestley, Wurtz. Ah, Wurtz, we are going to make a Wurtz. Can you please, for making a Wurtz, use a pan or a pan. Water, okay, water. Citric acid, okay, so water. I don't have any fruit juice, so water, citric acid, glucose, sugar. Of course, we have to taste sometime. Huh? Not enough. I need more. You know, I like the acidity of lemon. Okay. So probably it's all right. Sugar, people are very happy with sugar, so let's have sugar. Glucose, glucose, have the glucose? Oh, glucose. Can you put glucose? And gelatin, do you have gelatin? Gelatin, okay, very good for gelatin. Here it is. Oh, perhaps it's too much. Okay. Now glucose, glucose, very good. Glucose. Glucose, I love glucose because it gives a very good mouthfeel. It's not sweet as sugar, but it's very good mouthfeel. What is it? Salt, a pinch of salt, please. Okay, now you will have to eat. And you make like color. You have to decide for color and for odor as well. So now we are making a liquid that would be like the liquid. Oh, by the way, a liquid. It's like if I use, how does it work, this one? Where do we press the button? Thank you. Oh, yeah. Very good. No, it's all right, don't worry. It's done. Okay. Now we have a liquid, but this liquid contains water, glucose, fructose, sucrose, salt. So it's the same. I don't see much the difference. Except that I don't have pesticides. In this case, no, I'm joking. But it's true, I don't have pesticides. Huh? Okay. So now there is a liquid. Okay. The Wurtz, can I get back please the picture, the PowerPoint? Okay. The Wurtz is exactly that. You get this solution, and now you are getting to whip, and you will have to whip for a very long time, and it will make a foam, a foam, a foam, a foam, a foam, liters of foam. You store this foam in the fridge, and you have a Wurtz. So you see, using some easy knowledge, you can make some technology and innovation. Okay. So I leave that to you. Okay. By the way, how do you open that? You open that this way. By the way, you see, something very interesting. Generally, people drop that. This is cellulose. Cellulose means fibers. And fibers are good for your gut and digestion. We should not drop it. Let's use it in our kitchen. So let's keep this cellulose preciously. Instead of pouring it to the bin, let's keep it preciously for later. Okay. Now, this was a Wurtz, but there are many others. For example, the yolk at 67, the artificial salad, the wind crystals, the gyps. Let's make a gyps. No, leave that. You are going to make a gyps. A gyps means, remember, for making a gyps, we need a vessel. It can be this one. Oh, this one, very good. We will need proteins. Proteins, here they are. We will need proteins. Proteins that coagulate, which is more important. Some water, here it is. And now you whip. So there is absolutely no flavor, because the proteins don't have flavor, the water has no flavor. Very good. Now let's use an oil. Okay. Is it dissolved? Okay. So now you have to whip it while it's cooling. The oil. Would you be able, please, to pour the oil slowly, spoon by spoon, while she's whipping? Because now she's making a foam, but I don't want a foam. I want an emulsion. An emulsion means oil dispersed into water under the form of droplets, oil droplets. So when you will add the oil slowly, she will make the equivalent of a mayonnaise, okay? It's an emulsion, not a foam. Okay, you can add it, okay, very good. Oh, add, go. We have to be fast because they give me only 1 hour, so more. Okay, very good, congratulations, it's very good. More. By the way, perhaps the machine would be better, if you, because otherwise you will, anyway, you see, it's foaming, but he puts a green, but what's the flavor? Probably more citric acid, or tartric acid, you could add as well, tartric acid. Tartric acid. Tartric acid is very good. It's a completely different flavor. It's not the same as citric. Okay. No, if it is tartric, very good. Very good. Now it's enough. And now it will not change the content of the foam. It will change the flavor, which means that we dissociate the flavor from the consistency. And it's important to play with no consistency first. It's important. You do what you want. But if I were teaching this kind of thing, I would teach it with no flavor. And then when the success is obtained technically, we add the flavor, we add the color, and we add the odor. Okay. So it's foaming, it's all right, very good. Now, what about the oil? Very good. More oil. Wait, whip. No, it's not the right way. Because your arm should never be contracted because you will be exhausted and it should be very relaxed. This way, add the oil. Oh, by the way, they got the product, so we have to applaud these two people. No, it's finished. Let's applaud them. They are very good. Very good. Now, I invite you to pour some of this product into this glass. Yes? You know, this product is a new product. It's a foamy emulsion. Okay, we have it. Let's cook it in the microwave. We know the result. The result is we have water, proteins, air, and oil. Very simple. When you cook, the microwave does not heat oil. It heats water. Water will boil, which means expansion. So it will make probably, you have to cook. So it will expand, okay? And when it will be expanded, it means that we have reached the boiling point and coagulation of proteins. Okay, it's slow, okay, very good. Okay, it's done, okay? So now, this foamy emulsion has been transformed into a foamy emulsified gel. Okay. What about having a siphon, some coffee? Yes, some coffee? Yeah. Here. You would put some coffee. We are going to put some, coffee. Yeah, very good. Egg proteins. Okay. Can you put some, 1 spoon of protein? Very good. Now. Generally, proteins are very helpful for foaming. Okay. Now, we have to shake in order to dissolve the protein into coffee. But you know, coffee is water plus flavor, so it could be any water. So now, okay, very good, thank you. So now we are using a cartridge. Okay. Oh, no, I made a mistake. So I'm getting away. I'm not a cook, you know. Yes, you have to shake in order to dissolve the protein. And I will invite you to pour the foam on top. It will make a new cocktail. A cocktail that whatever. By the way, what I did not tell you, the oil that we used was an oil into, we stored some coffee powder for 1 week. And the flavor is very, very strong, the flavor of oil. The powder was at the bottom, but this oil is wonderful. It could be any other oil, but because we wanted to make Gibbs coffee, let's say, we have now the foam. Can you put some foam on? Okay, very good. It has to be a foam. Wow, recharge, don't worry. Okay. So you see the principle, and this can be in a bar any night. So the first part, the bottom part, was a Gibbs. The upper part is something different. So chocolate chantilly was an invention in 1995, layered batter, and there are many others. Okay. So now you forget about molecular cooking. Is it forget? Entirely finished? Okay. You promise that you will never do that. Okay, they promise. Very good. So now let's move to the past, to the future. The future has to be better. We are not looking for a reduction in quality. We want an increase of culinary art. So this is very clear. We want to improve culinary art. We don't want to do technology, we want to improve technology art. And this is very important. So what can we do? What will be the next art? I propose that the next art is called note-by-note cooking. And I will show you what it is. You know, my grandfather had plums. Okay. These kind of plums are called mirabelle. I don't know if you have mirabelle. Do you have mirabelle in Turkey? No? No, probably no. Mirabelle are special yellow plums. They are wonderful. I love that. So we have mirabelle. But mirabelles are very boring products because all year long you wait for the mirabelle and you don't have them, so you are sad. And suddenly you have mirabelles and mirabelles and mirabelles. You have too much. So what do? You do first a jam, then you do, what else? A puree, then a tart, and then finally in France, I don't know in Muslim countries, but in France we distillate. Okay. So we have mirabelle brandy. It's wonderful. It's forbidden according to certain law, but anyway, in France we have that. And my grandfather was someone very interesting. He was having a piece of wood, and he was putting wood into the bottle, the glass bottle. And I asked him, why do you do that? And he said, because I don't have the barrel outside, I put the barrel inside, which is food technology, or engineering, as you would call. Now, why do you have the effect of wood? You have an effect of wood because in wood you have a wonderful compound called lignin. This is the chemical structure of lignin. And when you store lignin with ethanol, you destroy lignin and you make all these products. And for example, one of them is vanillin. And then the old brandies have a small vanilla flavor. Okay. There are many others as well. There is, for example, syringic aldehyde, wonderful syringic aldehyde, and you have many others. So okay, so now you understand something. But so you could use now vanillin and put it into a whiskey. Or this one is in old wine in Burgundy. You have parethylphenol. Parethylphenol has a wonderful flavor of earth or mud. Okay, you can make it into brandy to turn into another one. So this is the idea of note-by-note cooking. Let's forget about carrot. So we don't want carrot any longer. We keep only, we don't want grapes, forbidden. We don't want eggs, away the eggs. Okay, and you have the foam there? Very good. And now you have only pure compounds. They are pure, which means that you control the nutrition, you control the toxicity, you control the flavor, you control the taste, you control the color, you control everything in your new food. Okay? And this is called note-by-note cooking. Okay? And this is the kitchen of the future. So be ready. You forget about the fridge. The fridge costs a lot of energy. You forget about fridges, and you have this product that you can store forever. Now, I know that many of you are upset. This guy is upset because he said, okay, but I want my baklava and I want what would be a good old Turkish dish? Sorry? No, for anything. What is your favorite? I say? Kapuska. Kapuska, okay. So this guy will be very sad because in the future there will be no kapuska. Okay. But I have to show why it is obvious that we have to move. You know, in the past, people were doing the music with traditional music instruments. When you make music this way, the sound is made already. Like when you use a carrot in the kitchen, the flavor of the carrot of the kitchen is made immediately. Okay. Now, 1 century ago, there were some physicists, in particular Fourier. Fourier analyzed the music, and he analyzed that the music could be dissociated into pure waves. Okay. This, at the same time, the same period, it was 1 century ago, between 1 and 2, the same time the chemist began the analysis of carrots, of meat, or so on. So, and the chemists realized that fish, meat, fruit, vegetable are made of pure compounds. And you have these pure compounds in front of you. Okay. Now, 50 years ago, it's not a long time ago, you needed a room full of computers and a big knowledge in order to create synthetic music. It is a fact, by the way. Today, you have to pay 23 euros to get a synthesizer. Guess what is on the right? And it is called not-by-not cooking. Or you could call it synthetic cooking if you want. I don't care. But I can predict that this will be the future. And it is already the future. Okay, it is already the future because, you know, or you can stop. He's making a lot of foam, but whipping by hand. No, we have a machine today, you know. No, first we have to upload it because he was very brave. Okay, very good, very good. Now we will have to store this in the fridge so that the foam is setting. The cocktail is here, so a Gibbs plus a foam, okay? What we did not do, which one? We did, the Dirac artificial meat. By the way, artificial meat, we have to convince chef, because the chef want to cook fish and meat. That is the rule, okay? Today, vegans are more important, but anyway. So you are going to make a Dirac. So I invite you to put 3 spoons of protein, 5 spoons of water, 3 spoons of protein, 5 spoons of water, what else? Cellulose, very good. Okay, it will be an artificial, remember, meat, you know, this is meat, not much, but meat. Meat is 75% water, 25% proteins. Okay, so here we have the water, we have the protein. Indeed, in this meat, we added cellulose, which is a plant product, not a meat product. So the vegans will be very happy. There is no odor, there is no taste. Do you want, Mr. Director, do you want to have a sweet or savory? Savory, okay. So please, MSG, glucose, salt, a small acidity, what else? What else? Color, what else? And you play with the odor that you want, okay? The odor we can, these products are one pure odorant compound dissolved into oil, into organic oil, which is better. So this is a very odorant, powerful product, and depending on them, you can have odors that you never had before. They are completely new. So what you see here, you don't see people cooking. You see people that have crossed the Atlantic Ocean at the Renaissance when America was discovered. So these people have crossed the ocean, and they are in the new era. It's not molecular cooking, it's not traditional Turkish cooking, and they will have to use their best artistic culinary senses in order to design the flavor. The consistency, it will be the consistency of meat. It should not be called meat, because meat comes from an animal. If we sell something that has not come from an animal, we have to call it differently. And this is what they do is a dirac. I call that a dirac, D-I-R-A-C. Okay? So they are making the first preparation, like an omelette. It's as easy as an omelette. And they will cook it. How do they cook? Many possibilities. They can grill. They can put in the microwave. Or they can fry in oil. I don't care. It will make the equivalent of meat with a special flavor. So you can control. If you imagine that you want, in meat, who is a specialist of meat? Are you a specialist of meat? No, no. Who is no specialist of meat? No, not today. Okay. Anyway, in meat, you have to know that you have water, proteins, plus fat. Fat is very important for the flavor. Let's add fat. It is oil, pure oil. It's a pure compound. You want more? How does it work? No, but we want a big quantity, the public loves fat. Okay. And now there will be more, it will be more tender. Okay. So you see, we can, how are we going to cook it? In a pan or both? You divide in two parts and you could fry like an omelette and put in a glass in the microwave, this way. Okay. Okay. So now you see the future. Now, these products, where do they come from? Of course, they come from the farm, because the farmers are producing carrots, but when you fractionate, you have new products. So all these compounds are edible because they are already in food. And then we can reorganize in billions of different ways. So you see, these are the compounds from your food already, so there is no devilous, dangerous compound. No, they are edible. It was from carrots. You have seen that coming from carrots. It's clear, it's honest. Okay? And by the way, you don't digest this product. And this is why when you eat too much fruit and vegetable, because there is a fermentation. It's a fact, there is a fermentation in your gut. And so you should not make too much of a cellulose. And now, in your curriculum, we need a nutritional part in order to design the food from the nutritional point of view. By the way, chocolate is not designed from a nutritional point of view, because chocolate is fat and sugar. So you see, by the way, baklava as well. Baklava is very good, but it's not nutritionally, it's not so good. Okay. So now we know the possibility. And we have to build everything in food. So if I were to invent a new curriculum, I will make a course of shapes, a course of consistency, a course of color, a course of taste, a course of flavor, and that's done. But now I hear you, this guy, the guy who wants, what was the name of the dish? Topuska, of Topuska. This guy says in it, no, I'm sorry, but I know that you are completely brilliant and marvelous, but he says, okay, but this is very long, in my restaurant it will be too long, I don't have time, because the consumer will come, I don't have time. But no, look, they were making dishes and dishes very briefly. So this is not the right question. Now, why should we do that? And the answer is very clear. The answer is, some species disappear, so you will not have them. Number two, we cannot eat anything. For example, I never succeeded in eating scorpions. I don't know why. What can we eat? This is a big question. The energy crisis, you see that on the TV every day. So the fridge probably will not last very long. So there will be a problem for the food industry. And the worst is this one. Today, we are about 7 billion people, okay, for short. Today, about 1 billion does not have enough to eat. It's a fact. Tomorrow, 2050, there will be probably 10 billion people in the earth. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One row. One row, anybody represents 1 billion people. The four here will starve, and the 6 here will have enough. If this is the situation in 2050, there will be a world war. Because when you have as many people that don't have food as people that have food, they fight, because they have to survive. So how are you going to do to feed all these people? What is your answer? No answer. What is your answer? GMOs? Sorry? Okay. No, but what are we doing? What are we going? We cannot have enough food for these people. So tradition is okay. Why not tradition? But you have to find food for 4 billion. 4 billion. Where are you going to find it? And indeed, many academies of the world have recognized that 1/3 of our food is spoiled, which means that if we avoid the spoilage, we can increase the production efficiently. Okay. So, and this is why, in the end, it will be note by note cooking. At the same time, look at that. A truck containing tomatoes is transporting 95% water. This is crazy. When young people want to care about the climate of the world, transporting 90% water that spoils. It's idiot. So we have to change. I will be dead at that time. Perhaps some of you will be there. What are you doing? You can decide to remain traditional if you want. But in this case, you will not do anything for the future. So perhaps it's time to realize that we have to do something. You have to do. I will be dead, I don't care. Okay. The techniques for fractionation already exist. There are factories for fractionating the ingredients to producing this product. And the idea is to enrich the farmer. This is very important because the farmers are responsible for the pollution and the sustainability. The number of possibilities is incredible. A new art is growing. And now, by the way, what about the Dirac? Okay, an artificial meat of the future. Ah, very good. Not bad. Perhaps more salt. Perhaps more. Probably more oil. More. Oh, no, by the way. No, we have. You have to be fair. No, you have to be fair. How is it? No, he says that because he's polite. No, it was done by people that never did that before, in some seconds. So now we can spend time with chefs. The chefs are most important because what they know is not technique. Of course, they know technique. But what they know is culinary art, which is flavor. Would you try? How would you say that it could be improved? But how? Flavor. Okay. So the oil. Okay, oil, certainly. We don't know, but in meat there is a lot of oil, a lot of fat. So you want to finish? Okay. Okay, so we have to applaud them, of course, again, because they were able to do something brilliant. Now, just picture to show you that this trend, note by note cooking, is spreading all over the world. So I will be very fast. So I wanted my friend Pierre Gagnère to be the first in the history of cooking, and now for the rest of the history of the mankind, Pierre was the best to serve a dish in a restaurant note by note. This one was called note by note 1. Okay, this is note by note 2. At the Cordon Bleu in Paris, they were pioneers, and they did well. But at the, at the old time, it was mushrooms. It's completely useless. Forget the mushroom, because it's not note by note. But in which they were the first. So this was the Cordon Bleu. Again, the Cordon Bleu, except a raspberry. A raspberry is not note by note, of course. There is no law that prevents avoiding raspberries. But indeed, it's not pure note by note. Okay. This is pure note by note. This was in 2011, so by the catering company Potel et Chabot, a big catering company. The idea of an oyster, velour sauce. At the right, it's meat, real meat. At the left, it's artificial. The right is ugly. It's awful. They were fruit. Big mistake. Cordon Bleu, again. These people were very, very good. Under the chef Patrick Terrien. So this was blue, of course. Blue. Jean-François de Guigné, pastry chef. Wonderful pastry chef. Montreal, Canada. A drink, very easy. And you see some dishes. This was a very successful dirac. You remember, this thing is a dirac. Here it was a dirac with a structure of fibers like a turbot fillet. Okay? David Krohn, Paris, Switzerland, Copenhagen. We have a contest for students, for grown-up, for the public. Here are some dishes from note by note, entirely with compounds. You see, this guy from Belgium, from Switzerland. Guillaume Ziegler from the Cordon Bleu in Tokyo, now is in Paris. Artificial sushi, no fish, no rice. No fish, no rice. And it was very, very good. Huh? He served that to the best chef of sushi in Kyoto. Now we have what is very important for the development of note by cooking are these bottles. We will bring them later, but I told you it's very concentrated in terms of odor. You put 1 drop, 2 drop, 4 drop. The possibility of odorant product is 7,000. You see, we can play with 7. We have a big organ. It's not a piano. It's an organ, a big organ. 7,000 possibilities. Okay, so it's very exciting. Now, this is an French-Italian chef in Poland. His restaurant is fully note by note. No fish, no meat, no plant tissue. And here are the dishes that he made for years. Okay, in Warsaw, sometimes there is a leaf. It's a mistake, There is a small leaf. Now this was, of course, a burger, but should it be called a burger? Not sure. Okay, you see again. Now in Alsace. Alsace is the best place of the world because it is my country, of course. You don't know Alsace well. It's Turkey is here and France is there. There is France and Germany and Switzerland nearby. Alsace is in the middle. It's a very small country. It's a brilliant country. You see, France, Germany, Alsace. And this is Alsace, you see? Oh, it's wonderful. Full of vineyards, castles, forests. You see, this is Alsace. It's wonderful. No? It's wonderful? No, it's wonderful. Okay. I see. And a chef there, Julien Bins, decided to make a note-by-note dinner, and he did it. He worked alone for 2 months, and finally, the price of the product was divided by 2, and the time for production was divided by 2, which is the most important argument for the development of note by cooking. So here is the chef, and here is the dinner. By the way, it's not an egg, huh? The small green macaron was incredible. This was something. Athens, so Turkish people cannot be late compared to Greek, that's sure. So Athens, they did a big story with cocktails. These were the dinner in Athens, beautiful. This was called the imaginary fruit. The seeds were edible. Okay. Singapore, quite recently, and these people decided for a big program of development. It's a culinary school, like yours, and they are now developing a big program funded by the government on Not by Not cooking. The program is called Sustainable Food Without Waste. Okay? But it's not the green part is not an alga, it's a design. Okay, here is the dish. So finally, let's look if we did everything. We did the verse, thank you. We did the debai. Ah no, we did not the debai. The debai was a gel that you would grind into oil to make a new product. Finish, we don't have time. We did the Dirac, congratulations. We did the cocktail, the foam could be improved. We did, and we could move on for days. It's very simple. We have to play with the colors, with the odors, with the taste, with the consistency. We change it, we make another experiment. And then there is a new art growing, and this art is called Note by Note cooking. And this art is spreading all over the world. So I can tell you, I can predict that it will be spreading again. And you know, coming here was a new step for the development, because I'm sure that some young chef will take this idea and to make it successful in their own country, in their own way, and it will be good for humankind. And this is why I'm happy to finish with this picture. You have my email. If you are very angry at me, please send me an email. If you are happy, don't congratulate. But only if you are angry, okay? You use email, I say, I don't agree with you, and I will try to discuss and to explain, and perhaps I will be improved, because perhaps I'm making mistakes, and it is important. I have to improve. I should not remain an idiot as I am. So please use this email. I'm always answering. When I'm away in Turkey, it will be in 2 days. Okay. So now we are between gods. Of course, I know that these gods are Greek, but it's a metaphor. It's Bacchus, the god of good food and drink, and Hermes, the god of chemistry. So these gods are wonderful. They look over me. I'm very happy because I have 2 gods with me, so it's helpful. You know, I'm happy to have the god. And finally, the most important thing is the one in the middle. Remember that the cook, the goal of the cook, is to say, I love you. And indeed, rationality as well is a way to improve the way to say I love you. And this is why I'm so happy to show that to young chefs, because if they understand clearly the goal and they make it rationally with the right pieces of information, then certainly the pischerlik of the future, you say pischerlik cooking, comment on dit cuisine? Pischerlik. The pischermek of the future will be even more brilliant than today. Thank you very much. If you have questions, I will, of course, immediately. There is one here. If you have a microphone or something, no? Oh, yes, there is a microphone. Please do that in English. Huh?
Okay, of course, welcome. It's very good to see you in Turkey. I want to ask that, what is the difference between the note-by-note cooking and the molecular cooking? As I see work with you, it's similar for me now, as I understand in your explanations. What is the difference between them?
Molecular cooking means using new tools from the lab. Note-by-note cooking means using new compounds, pure compounds.
New compounds,
pure
compounds. It's similar.
No, because in molecular cooking you use meat, fish, plants.
Yes.
And this is not note-by-note. It is a traditional way done with an improved technique. Here the question is not technique, the question are the ingredients.
But in molecular cuisine also there is the new techniques or old techniques, but it's scientific techniques and also artificials or some other ingredients.
The definition of molecular cooking means you use the traditional ingredients, fish, meat, fruit and vegetable, and you use new material, new technique. This is molecular cooking. Note by note has nothing to do with With the technique, it has to do only with the ingredients.
Okay.
Another one? Oh, yes. Where are you? Okay.
Firstly, I would like to thank you and welcome you for coming to our university and making a very beneficial presentation. You just talked about gels, and my question is that, is it possible to add, insert, or change the electrons inside those gels, approximately the same amount, and put them on a plate and make it fly like two magnets.
To what?
Two magnets. For example.
I understand.
Yeah.
To play with electrons of gels, to charge the gel in order so them they are attracted. Indeed, there are two answers. I repeat the question so that I will be sure to understand it. Is it possible to make two gels in which you would play with the electrons so that the gels would attract? Okay.
No. Same electron, and it will fly.
Ah, okay, they will repel,
yeah.
Which is the same kind of question. Yes, now I know. First of all, we should calculate it, because we have to know if it is possible. One mole of electrons. No, the question is, you can calculate the force needed to lift up a small part. The electric force is quite weak. And then the only possibility is to have a sheet that would float over. I need to calculate. I will do the calculation. If you send me an email, I will send you the calculation. So the answer is probably yes. And we have to be intelligent to calculate the weight of the mass that would float on top. It will be probably a sheet. I would guess that my calculation will tell you a sheet.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome. By the way, there is an old experiment that you can make with a ruler in plastic that you rub against your pullover, and you attract a piece of paper. Did you see this experiment before? Okay, and this is the kind of thing that we are going, but instead of attracting, we would use the same charge, and then we would uplift. So the answer is probably yes for a sheet. I will calculate that. I will tell you the recipe. Where is the next question? Okay.
So we are also wondering your relationship with Pierre Gagnaire. Are you always in the same ideas? Do you fight a lot? How does this fight a lot over something? Yes, because I would say he would be.
No, the relationship with Pierre. I will show you a picture. I will have to show two pictures probably. The first one was there. Where is it? The first one was there. You know, where is it? Pierre, where are you? Before Note by Note. No, it's there. Okay, this one. The exact relationship is the following. So Pierre is my friend. Pierre is a beautiful mind, which means that he was not educated. He went into business at 14 years old. So he did not went at university. He was 14, and his father at 14 years old put him in a restaurant and said, "You are going to be a cook." And Pierre is brilliant, and he did not like cooking. at the beginning. Because at 14, remember, at 14, you are cooking all day long in front of stove, you have no education, you are not looking at culture, you are not learning English, you are not English history, you don't learn geography, you don't learn anything. You are working in a restaurant day and night. And but Pierre is very, very open. He's one of these characteristics. You know, each time I'm discussing with Pierre, there is a new idea coming from him, which is brilliant. You know, I have many friends of mine who are old friends. We are discussing always the same story. I hate that. Pierre is always new. Okay. And the idea is for Pierre and only for him, every month I have to invent a new idea that I give to him. So generally, I don't have time to think about ideas. So I have a meeting with him once a month. We meet more than that, but we call on the phone every minute. But once a month I go to the restaurant, and then when it's very early, 7 in the morning, I said, I have to find an idea for Pierre. I like to find an idea for Pierre. What could be an idea for Pierre? What could be an idea for Pierre? What could be an idea for Pierre? And finally, one morning, this is an example, a real one, I was at 7:30 arriving at the restaurant, and when I arrive, Pierre is not there. He arrived at 8:30. And generally, I go to the pastry chef at the bottom level to shake hands, to say, hello, goodbye, how are you, and so on. So they were young chefs, young pastry chefs. And I was looking at the guy, and the guy was making puff pastry. Okay. So puff pastry is very interesting. Because when you make a puff pastry, what do? You take flour and water, you make a dough. Okay. You have the batter, you make it soft. You put it on the dough, you fold. So you see, this is the batter, and this is the dough, and this is the piece of batter. Okay. So you put the piece of batter in the middle, you fold like an envelope, okay, this way, okay, it is. Now, you put this way, you roll it, it has to be 3 times longer than wide, and then you fold into 3, like this, okay? Now you put it this way, you fold in longer, and you fold into 3, which means that you are making layers and layers and layers. I can tell you that the number of layers, if you take 6 turns, 6 tours, you make 730 sheets of dough and 729 sheets of batter. Okay. And indeed, it makes a puff pastry. Okay. The good baklava of this guy. Now, I was looking at this guy, and I said, okay, but you know, I know also what is called the inverted puff pastry. And the inverted puff pastry is the following. You take the batter now, and now you put the dough on top. Okay. And you make the same kind of process. But I said, why not batter and batter? And it would be, let's say, puff pastry. I call that beurre feuilleté, puffed batter. Okay. And there it is. So I was looking at this guy, and I said, okay, I have the idea. So when Pierre arrived at 8:30, I said, Pierre, you have to ask the pastry chef to do this way, and this way, and this way. The guy did it, and there it is. And of course, in this case, it's not pure batter. One part is batter in which you added coffee when whisking, and the other part is a pistachio juice in which you added the melted butter, which means that you have 2 emulsions that you can play with, and they have a different consistency. So you see, it's an example of the way we are doing. There is an invention. Nobody did that before, to my knowledge. It is invented, and now Pierre does it in all the restaurants of the world. There is no question of money. I never got €1 from him, because it's not a question of money, it's a question of love. And this is why there is no collaboration. We don't collaborate. We are friends playing with culinary art, and it's much more important. It is much more important. And in the end, of course, Pierre will serve this in Dubai, Hong Kong, Las Vegas, Tokyo, Moscou, Courchevel, Megève, Genève, I don't know where. I don't care. Sorry. You have the question. Sorry? Okay, do it. You have to make it, but
there's no new technique invention.
no, there is not needed. It was done with the molecular cooking as well. Yeah, we have all the technique already, so we could slightly improve. For example, I told you about using ultrasonic probes to make an emulsion. At the same time, what I did not tell you is that I invented in 2001 an equipment that makes 400 billion different consistencies. It is called the pianoctel. And by the way, some friends of mine are playing with 3D printing. Of course, note by note is very helpful for 3D printing, but also for 4D printing. 4D printing means you print something 3D, and this food will move with time. Like, you know, the Japanese, they put a flower into water and the flower spreads. So we can design food that would spread like this. It's very funny. And this would be a new technique. But we can invent many. The philosophy is you cook with pure compound. Yeah. Pure or not completely pure. For example, imagine that you don't have pure amylopectin, you would use cornstarch. Okay. If you use oil is not one pure triglyceride, it's a mixture of many triglycerides, but they are all the same, so let's play with oil. Sometimes it's not needed. Now, there are two questions. There is a question of definition, and there is a question of making it practical. If you want to make it practical, you can use these products as spices if you want. You can use this product in traditional cooking. You can make a baklava, and you would add 2 or 3 gots of the product, and it would be good. So there is no law. You do what you want. But the definition is clear. It means cooking with pure compounds. And the technique, we don't care. As far as it is well done.
Last question.
Okay.
Last question from Neshegmit.
Here. Or the two last, because there was a hand. Okay.
Thank you, Professor, for coming. I have a question about wine, especially because as theoretically and practically as you talk us about not by note cooking, wine is also doable with these pure compounds very easily. Am I right?
Say it again.
The wine also is doable by these pure compounds.
Oh, the wine
so
is very easy.
We
the
can construct.
The drinks are so easy.
Okay.
Except that it's like meat. If you make an artificial product that is the composition of wine, it will not be wine because wine is defined by law as the product of fermentation of grapes. And it was the same with Dirac. If you make an artificial steak, probably the word steak will be forbidden soon. And the word meat is forbidden already in many countries by law. So this is not meat. And this is why I called it a Dirac. Because I don't want the confusion. We have to be loyal, honest. You know? And because I don't sell anything, I don't care.
But, like, how do you see the future of this reconstructed wine, let's say?
Oh,
because
for wine, you know, you take 90% water, 10% ethanol, you have phenolics, you have glucose, you have some sucrose, you have some minerals, some phenolics, I said that, tartaric acid, and that's done. Plus the odor.
Because in the future, like, winemaking costs a lot, especially for storing, and it will save us a lot of money if we take in terms of that. And then you can add as much as sensory compounds as you want. What do you want to convey to the...
As you want. About your question, I have to show you this picture that was by Potel et Chabot. Here it is, probably. Let's go fast. Go fast. Here it is. Here it is, it comes. Okay. No, it was before. I went too fast. Here it is. Here it is. You know, this, no, sorry. This sauce is a Wöhler sauce. W-O-H-L-E-R. It's the name of a chemist, Wöhler. This sauce is made of, you take a pan, water, tartaric acid, phenolics from grapes, glucose, fructose, gelatin, oil, you boil. 1 minute, and you have the equivalent of wine sauce. And I tested it for journalists and chefs, and they preferred this sauce to a really well-made wine sauce that take you 1 day, because you have to make the chicken fond, you have to clarify, and so on and so on and so on. And this was incredible, but this sauce takes 1 minute. Of course, it is not. Boiling wine is crazy, because when you boil wine, you have an odor. What is this odor? Odorant molecules. So you boil, you make a big product, and you boil it. And then the chefs say, we respect the product. No, they don't respect the wine. They boil it. No, it's a fact. It's a fact. So if you boil to evaporate the odor, it's a mistake. Otherwise, you recover the odorant by distillation, and you use this odorant compound. You see? It's completely different.
Thank you.
And the last question here, there was a question here. If you still have the question, do you have still it? Okay, you have the question.
So you talked about note-by-note cooking and its applications in restaurants, but do you see it being applied in everyday homes? Like,
Sure. I want that for homes.
but how would people be accepting of something such different to them? Like, even now as chefs, some of them don't accept it, but if you apply it to homes, people would be kind of skeptical of putting chemicals and thinking that this is food.
This is a very good question. In 1984, when I was proposing molecular cooking, which means simple things like saffron, remember? When I proposed that to the French chef in 1984, I remember the place. It was in Paris, 73-63 Rue Blanche. I was coming with my products to the Federation of Top Chefs, and I was allowed to speak to them, to tell them what I was proposing. I was proposing molecular cooking at that time. So I said, chef, I want to help you, and in order to help you to make the foam faster and so on, there is molecular cooking. And the chef told me, no, you are going to poison us. Nobody was poisoned, and you see, it is this product, this hardware is now everywhere. Indeed, the success came when Ferran Adrià was demonstrating at the TV, but at the same time there was the mad cow crisis, and people wanted to avoid gelatin, so they had to move to agar and carrageenan and so on. So these same people that rejected molecular cooking, suddenly they accepted. So now I don't care, because I don't sell anything, I don't get any money, I don't get any, I'm not more famous, and I don't care about famous, because when I will be dead, famous or not, I will be in the soil. So, you know, the question is for you. By the way, I don't care about the people, the public knows or wants or says, because the public has to receive fresh information, right information. Okay. Now, the public has to know that in the 2050 there will be 10 billion people on the earth. What are you doing, guys? And of course, you can say, I don't want chemistry, but what are you doing? I have a proposal. You do what you want, I will be dead, I don't care. By the way, there is a strategy behind, you know. When I'm giving note-by-note cooking to Pierre and to Pierre only, what does it mean? It means that I'm giving note-by-note cooking to the rich people, to the king. If the king is eating something, the public wants it. And this is why for molecular cooking, as for note-by-note cooking, it has to go first to the king so that the public wants it. And the public will want it. And the fact that I'm invited here today is a demonstration that this strategy works. And then I don't have anything to do. It's done. And this is why I can be confident in saying, this is the future.
Thank you so much for your time.
Şimdi teşekkürleri için
Uygulamalı Bilimler Yüksekokulu Müdürümüz Sayın Teoman Alemdar'ı ve Gastronomi ve Mutfak Sanatları Bölüm Başkanımız Sayın Doçent Doktor Özge Samancı'yı sahneye davet ediyorum.
Okay. I will get a diploma of the cordon bleu on Özyeğin University. Thank you very much. Ah. Thank you very much. Building a world. Oh, well, this is, we have a world to build. Özyeğin. Sorry? Ah, the founder of the university. Üşnü Özyeğin. Oh, sorry. Thank you very much. Wait, one minute.
Sayın misafirlerimiz, bundan sonra Atölye Blö'de bir kokteylimiz olacak. Sizlere hatırlatmak isterim. Lütfen ellerinde tabela olan arkadaşları takip ederseniz onlar sizleri yönlendirecekler.
The name of the university. Okay. No. Okay.
Yes.